What is up? This is the War Dog. Welcome to Comic Book Theater with my main man, JR. What's going on, JR?
What's up, War Dog?
Oh, not much. So, in the news, there's this big fight with Sony and Disney over the rights for Spider-Man. So, let's talk about that first. What are you thinking about that?
Oh man, I tell you what, I I love that the wall crawler is in the news. I dig that because I'm a Spider-Man guy. But on the flip side, there's a part of me that wants the drama to be over with. Now, I, I personally think that Disney is a master of giving you something and then taking it right away, leaving you wanting more. So I don't know if they ever had the intent of making it a long-term gig, or if they were absolutely content or even complicit in saying, Sony, we're going to drum up some drama. You guys are going to go do your own thing for the next 3 or 4 years because we don't really have anything for Spidey to do in this cosmic world that we're going to with things like the Eternals and that kind of thing. But we will come back, and when we come back, we'll want Spidey again. But in the meantime, we're going to drum up a whole lot of drama, make everybody a little upset, those kind of things. And the reason I say that is because, man, I grew up. My sister loved all those Disney movies: The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin. I ended up watching them with her. No, that just is what it is. But I also know that Disney would put the movies out, and then they would seal the Disney vault, and you won't see those movies again on whatever format it is for 20 years or 10 years or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
yeah.
in that way, I kind of think that they may be playing the fans a little bit. I mean, I could be wrong, but I mean, that's kind of the way this feels, is that it's more orchestrated drama than anything else.
That's what it sounds like a little bit to me, but I think really what it comes down to is, like you said, it doesn't seem like there's a place for Spidey in the upcoming movies. So they kind of want to take him out. But then Sony at the same time has the Venom movie, and they got another one planned with Woody Harrelson. You got to imagine that they're going to want Spider-Man in that series at some point, whether it's this next one or the one following. The only unfortunate thing is that Tom Holland, in my opinion, has done a really good job at the character, and I'd hate to. I don't think we need another reboot of another new Spider-Man, basically.
Yeah, I agree with that. What I would say though is what we have to remember as comic book fans is we're kind of built into being okay with reboots a little bit, just because I mean, think about all the '90s. Perfect example. Everybody got a new number one out. You know what I mean? Everybody started doing volume two of retelling this kind of updating so and so's backstory here or there. The other thing that makes us a little more okay with reboots as comic book fans is we're used to different artists and writer teams coming in and giving their own spin and telling a new story. The artwork looks different. The storytelling method is different. You know what I mean? But I'm with you in that of the three actors to play Spider-Man, Tom Holland is the most complete Peter Parker and Spider-Man to date. Andrew Garfield is too cool to be Peter Parker, and the
Toby,
first kid, Tobey Maguire, thank you very much. He was too wooden as Spider-Man. It just is what it is, and I know people have emotional attachment to the Spider-Man that they grew up with. My daughter hates it when I say that. She loves Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. because that's when she was very small. That's who her Spider-Man was. To the point that my middle son, his first movie ever that he went to the theater for was Spider-Man #1, and that's because he was too small to be with a babysitter, and he slept through the whole thing. So my wife, he was practically a newborn. But like you say, having said all of that, they like them, but I, like you say, I can't go anywhere but Tom Holland. To me, is the most complete one. So I would not envy whoever has to replace him when that time comes. But there are dozens of stories they can tell with Tom Holland still as he continues to grow up. Because you got to remember, in the late '80s, early '90s, Spider-Man was getting married to Mary Jane. You know,
Yeah.
He went through a lot of different life phases just for them to then reboot him and make him just an older teen or an early 20s kind of guy. And that's kind of where he stayed there or younger almost the entire time that he's been around. So, I, I don't, I'm with you though, too. I think that Sony wants Spider-Man in the Venom franchise for sure. And I think they could actually do a Spider-Verse. You know what I mean? With all of the Rogues Gallery, don't you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. With the success of the Spider-Verse movie, that might be one of the things that Sony is thinking in the back of their mind, like, holy cow, this cartoon was critically acclaimed. I mean, people love it, and maybe we could do something like it. I'm gonna go against probably the popular, the popular thinking. I actually enjoyed the Venom movie, and I think with the way that they had portrayed Venom in the story, it would be interesting to see Tom Holland going against that Venom in the Sony universe. It
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I absolutely agree. And I know that we've talked quite extensively about things like um, Absolute Carnage that's being written right now, and how it harkens back to some of those '90s Venom and Spidey and Carnage mini series or storylines that were going on in the various Spider-Man titles of the '90s. I absolutely would love to see that. Now, this is the one caveat I've got to throw out there is when Venom came into being in the comic books, Peter Parker was older to the point that it would not be and there again, you guys know, if you've listened to us for any length of time whatsoever, I view the cinematic universes as kind of like a what if, the same way with the TV shows. It allows me to suspend that disbelief and not get so hung up on it being true to the source material. You know what I mean? So with that being said, while Venom, one of the main storylines with Venom coming into being was Venom terrorizing Mary Jane because Peter and Mary Jane were living together and those kind of things. Well, like you say, you put it in this universe, I actually like it more because it makes Spider-Man that much more of an underdog.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, the whole initial story where Venom and the symbiote or symbiote or whatever you want to call it, wherever, that whole story is just entertaining in itself. That would be a fun story to see. I don't know. I got to read Secret Wars again. It's been a while, but I mean, it would be epic in a movie to see Peter Parker in that pose on, in the Secret Wars. I think it was number 8, where he
Yep.
gets the suit. It would be cool to see the whole interaction with Venom and how they have a falling out. And then it would also be interesting to see the Eddie Brock becoming Venom. It's just how much. I mean, that is a lot of story for the Marvel comic universe.
It is, and it's one of those things that I hate to say it, it almost would play out better as a TV show on Disney Plus or something like that. Now that's the other thing that we kind of we have yet to talk about is the Disney Plus universe that's coming out with Moon Knight and She-Hulk and those things. Those are all supposed to directly tie back into the MCU. I actually think that Spider-Man translates better to an episodic TV show. That's myself personally, because again, you can have these great week-to-week battles and tell those stories, and then have the mid-season finale or season finale with somebody like a Green Goblin in the end of the first season, with somebody like a Doc Ock at the end of a second season, etc., going all the way into Venom and the Red Goblin and all these things. But that's me personally. That's my personal taste and take on the character, that I think it works better that way. Spider-Man is basically a street level defender, whereas the Avengers, they're the ones that take care of those global events. Not to say that Spider-Man can't be useful there, but I mean, come on, man. Spider-Man versus Thanos, really? It doesn't work that great in the comics unless if the writer decides to give Spidey cosmic power or something. You know what I mean? And that's not a dig. Like you say, I'm a Spider-Man guy. One of the runs I'm working on actively is completing Amazing Spider-Man, which is ridiculously hard whenever you start to get down into those, wherever you start to get down into those sub 100s, unless if you're just willing to go pay eBay prices, then you can find them. But you guys kind of know that's not me. So anyway, I that's where I would have preferred to see Spider-Man from the very get-go. Would have been something like a Disney Plus. Hey, we're going to throw him out there. We're going to let Tom Holland be in this series for 2 seasons. Then he's going to show up with the Avengers. But none of that was in place at the time. So they made the best of what they had. And I'm not dogging them at all. I still love all the appearances that Spider-Man has had in the MCU and his movies that he's had solo as well.
Well, Spider-Man is he's a moneymaker, and so I agree with you. Like, the way that Netflix has played off some of these shows, even like the Flash shows. I know you're not a big fan of the Flash show, but that's one of my favorite shows. And I mean, Spider-Man kind of is. I mean, Spider-Man's more popular, but he's kind of on that same level as the Flash. I mean, the Flash is probably even more powerful than Spider-Man because he can change time and stuff. But it would be It would be awesome to see a Disney Plus show with nice graphics where Spider-Man's fighting the Lizard, the Vulture, and then it all culminates up to him fighting Green Goblin at the end of season 1 or something. So yeah, that would be really, really cool to see.
And really, if you look back historically, some of the best team ups that Spider-Man has had are team ups where he's with Daredevil, or that he's begrudgingly having to team up with the Punisher. You know what I mean? More street level enforcers kind of people, rather than he's teamed with the Fantastic Four and the Avengers and the X-Men. He's done all of them. Like you say, he's the moneymaker. There was a certain point in time, and that's one reason why I kiddingly have said, if you want to even attempt to collect every Spidey appearance ever, forget about it, man. You will, like I say, unless you have unlimited funds, the chances of doing that, man, it gets pretty astronomical because every time they launched a new title at Marvel, within the first 5 or 6 issues, what do you know? Spider-Man shows up. Amazing. We're trying to sell some units here. Save this title. That kind of thing is what they did with him. But yeah, I like you say, I would much rather see that. But on the flip side too, I do love your idea of this Tom Holland where he's at in his life now against Eddie Brock. That and this Venom, I like that idea. I actually would love to see Maximum Carnage, a more true portrayal of Maximum Carnage happen in Venom 2, but I get the feeling that they're going to have to ultra streamline it, and because I don't know that they're going to get Tom Holland in that movie. I would like it though. I certainly would like that.
Oh yeah, that would be ideal. I mean, Tom Holland is pretty good, and aside from the Venom story, and I know a lot of people their complaints with the Venom story that just came out, it wasn't anywhere near what the comic book is. But it's like you said, I mean, it's a what if universe. It's so it as long as it's cool, then and I enjoy it, then I'm okay with it. Like people complain sometimes that oh, this doesn't follow along with this, like the Infinity Gauntlet. I mean, if you read the Infinity Gauntlet, I mean, it's nowhere near what the movie. It's a completely different story. But the fun part of it is, I read it after I seen the movie, and I got the pleasure of being able to read about these awesome characters, but a completely different story. And so I really really thoroughly enjoyed it. I even went on to Comics Explained shortly after and listened to it again. I might even listen to it again. I mean, I love the story. And so, I mean, I would love to see this. Really, I'd love to see more Venom. I enjoyed that Venom, and obviously Tom Holland would be a nice fit. But back to that whole Disney Plus thing. Did you see the trailer for The Mandalorian?
I did. Man alive. Okay, so you guys know, I am a Star Wars guy, but more so I tend to stick with superheroes and Marvel and DC. But Star Wars, we all know the hype that has surrounded Boba Fett for years and years and years. People talking about just how great he is, and of course, some of us like to poke the bear a little bit, with these fans of Boba Fett, and talk about how he died in the movies.
Yeah.
Anyway, anyway, so this is, to me, looks like they are really going all out to cement his legacy. Um, I was floored by this one because I did not have hugely high expectations. The other films that they've had out that were uh, that that have come out recently from Star Wars, some of them have not quite hit the right note with me. Other ones were good, but the original three. Okay, the original three are always going to be way up here. I know a lot of people put the prequel trilogy at the very bottom. They hate it. You guys know I'm a fan of Darth Jar Jar. I love him. He's the man. He's the real big bad behind all of this. In the very final movie, I still have faith that Jar Jar is going to and be the absolute big bad guy behind Darth Sidious and everything. That probably won't happen, but I can always hold out hope. Yeah, I can always dream. And by the way, I was talking to you before too, guys. If you were unaware, in this last December, they did a Star Wars Super Special, and Jar Jar showed off some force wielding capability and some lightsaber action too. So you might just check into that. That might have that theory may have more legs than anybody is giving it credit for, and that's something I was just made aware of this last week. Anyway, getting back on topic, I took a way hardcore left turn there for a second, guys. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
I was wondering. I was like, are we
Anyway,
talking about the Mandalorian? Once Jar Jar comes
yeah,
in your mind, you get carried away.
I do, man.
It's a fun
He's
scenario.
my favorite. I love Jar Jar, dude. I just love the idea. I love the idea that internet trolls basically destroyed a character that could have been so awesome if they had just kept their yap shut. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Oh yeah,
And
the flip flop that could have happened.
I'm guilty. Oh yeah. I mean, if they had allowed the story to mature the right way and go the way that it should have gone, I firmly believe everybody would be talking about Jar Jar like way up here with Yoda and Darth Vader. But anyway, back to Boba Fett. They make him into in this trailer, like a 2-minute trailer. I went from being pretty indifferent to him to more saying, yeah, I think I might want to check that one out. How are you feeling about that trailer?
Oh man, I watched it today. I think, and if that's what Disney Plus is going to give us, that makes me pretty excited. I mean, I'm pissed off that I'm going to have to pay for all these different streaming services, but I mean, if I'm getting almost movie quality presentations on Disney Plus, then you know what? I'll take it. I mean, because I watched that and I was like, I mean, the spaceship's flying, and I'm thinking like, wow, man, this is some really good CGI. And then they introduced like IG-88, which we were talking earlier. Like, that's one of the action figures I remember buying, and I think he was on screen for like 1 minute maybe. Darth Vader goes up to him and says, don't kill him, or no detonating." And I mean, it would be cool to see some of these characters that were in the original Star Wars universe actually get developed, and where you're like looking at this old action figure that you have, and you're like, holy crap, there he is. He's real.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I agree that is the potential that they have there for sure. I like you say, I'm really, really excited at this point to see that. They're talking about developing some of these other shows there on Disney Plus too, but right now that looks to be top notch. Like you say, the production value looks like it's there. The star power, Billy D. Williams shows up in the trailer. I mean, there's some. I mean, it looks like they're putting maximum effort into this one. They're not just. It doesn't feel like they're mailing this one in.
Oh yeah. I'm really excited about this. And I think like everybody remembers having the Boba Fett. Everybody at our age remembers having the Boba Fett action figure, and that was probably one of the coolest ones because he had the rocket on his back and everything. And so
Right.
yeah, getting to see this
Well,
was really exciting.
oh yeah, absolutely. Well, and not only that, the myth behind, like you're talking about, we're both kind of in that same age range. Uh, when we were kids, it was a myth that you had the rocket fire Boba Fett, and then come to find out, it was something that was a prototype and actually was made, just never sent out to anybody because it was a choking hazard. That's famous now. When we were kids, it was a rumor. You know what I mean?
Oh
You
yeah.
you knew somebody who had heard it from somebody that this might be a thing, but it's akin to just being in a totally different time that it's not something that was real to us. Whereas now, if kids hear a rumor, they can go on Google and figure out if it's. They can hit Snopes up and be like, "Hey, is this toy real or not?" You know, we could do that.
You know what's funny though is, I mean, you think about the times that we live in, and everybody's so concerned about everything. Everybody's so politically correct. But back in the '80s, they couldn't put out a figure with a rocket that shot. But right now, you could buy an action figure that has hands that swap, and how big are the hands? Like the size of a dime. So I mean, isn't that more of a choking hazard now? Like, did we digress?
It really it comes down to the fact that they're no longer marketing those toys for kids. They are in fact are marketing those toys for me and you. That's what it is. We've got friends through the collector's corner, that we know they're into toys, man. The nostalgia
Oh yeah.
of the toys. And instead of having to pretend that the toys could do this, that, or the other, or look a certain way, they just put a million points of articulation on it, or like you say, a swappable head, swappable hands, and next thing you know, you get what you're looking for.
Well, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm 42 years old, and I still walk through when I go to Walmart and I go grocery shopping. I still walk through the toy aisle, and I look at the toys, and a lot of times I have to like talk myself out of it, like $20 so that I can have this sit somewhere and collect dust. But the joy is still there.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, the joy and the nostalgia is definitely still there. Um, I know that is part of the allure of these shows coming to a Disney Plus or coming to the movie theaters. It is that nostalgia factor. That's what they're selling us on these days. Don't kid yourself. They're selling us on remembering what it was like when we were younger. That's why they have the even with pops, let's use them as an example. You're getting 15 different versions of Batman, but the reason you're getting 15 different versions is you got to have the Batman 66 over here. You have to have the Affleck Batman over here. You have to have everyone in between,
Oh yeah.
because it's nostalgia for somebody. It's the same way with Spider-Man and Superman and fill in the blank with all the other pops that are out there, but that's what they're selling us these days.
Yeah. Pops are annoying. I mean, because I see them, and I know they're ridiculous, but at the same time, I'm like, I kind of like that.
It's I'm not a pop collector myself. I do have pops. I do display pops. I do even buy pops. The pops, like I bought. See, I'm not a Harley Quinn fan. Okay, that's just not. But I also know that people like them. So I will, if I can find a screaming deal on them, I will buy them so that I can sell them in my flea market booth. But I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with them. I think currently I own 4 pops that are displayed in my house as a part of a comic book display. But yeah, even them, they're nostalgia. Here's one, Batman Beyond.
Oh, okay.
People are digging stuff like that even. But and going back to the Star Wars, it's the nostalgia of all of it that gets us off of the couch and into the movie theaters, or like you say, gets us to buy the 14 different streaming services that you got to have to see all of the shows that you want to see. That's what they're selling us. They're selling us that. And actually, speaking of nostalgia, and I know that we started off on Spider-Man and Venom. The Absolute Carnage series that's going on, they're actually bringing back some '90s supervillains. Have you heard about that?
Only what you have told me. I mean, I read Absolute Carnage #1. I haven't read #2, and I read some of the I read the Deadpool story, that the side story, and I read the Scream side story. But
Right.
yeah, I haven't gotten in the book too. Oh, you know what? I read the separation anxiety, and I think that's where these other Venom characters are going to start coming into play that you're talking about.
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean, man, they're bringing back, and this is the thing that I have really liked about this Absolute Carnage so far is, and we talked about it a little bit, all of the callbacks that are in Absolute Carnage so far, it's amazing. Going back to even Absolute Carnage #1 has been out long enough. I'm going to spoil this for somebody still. You're just gonna have to suck it up, kids. It's been out long enough. You should have already read it. The subway scene where Eddie gets pushed into the subway and Dylan gets pushed into the subway. That's a callback to Venom's first cameo in the Web Spider-Man series. I believe it's 17. It's either 17 or 19. A hand pushes Peter Parker into the subway, and he just barely makes it out on time. But that hand that you see pushing him doesn't trigger his spider sense, and it's been confirmed through a couple of different ways, not the least of which was actually in Amazing Spider-Man. Let's say it's 379, 378, somewhere in there. It's a Vulture storyline, but the backup storyline combines all of the Venom cameos leading up to 299 and 300 from Amazing Spider-Man. Anyway, there are callbacks like that littered all throughout that, but like where I'm going with this is Demo Goblin is coming back, so is Screech, and so is Doppelganger. Now those Shriek and Doppelganger are both from the Maximum Carnage storyline specifically. That's where they got the most time, really. But I mean, I'm just glad to see them coming back, man, because that's stuff that is right in my wheelhouse. It's exactly where I was in the '90s. Reading some of this stuff was Maximum Carnage. I mean, you can't beat that. You can't beat that.
And people complain that Donny Cates doesn't respect the history, and here he is. He's respected some history, so I mean that's cool.
Yeah, man. He puts now. I will say he puts his own spin on that history, and he kind of does a little bit of the retcon bit. But the truth is, man, you got to retcon some of it to get where you're going. You have to pay a little homage to the things that came before, but you don't have to treat them as if they're holy scripture. You know what I mean? We're not talking about rewriting the Bible or the Quran or anything like that. We're talking about putting a new spin on it. Instead of taking that storyline head on, hitting it from a certain angle and looking at a different way. And yeah, of course, some people are going to love it, some people are going to hate it. I believe the vast majority of us like it.
Oh yeah, and I mean that's what they did with Batman throughout the years. I mean, you'd have Frank Miller would tell a story one way, somebody else would tell a story another way. So I mean, I guess as long as whatever angle you go from still leads to that main character, um, it's also cool to consider them from kind of different personalities, different some of their other traits kind of standing out over over another. Like, you know, there's happy Batman, and then there's angry Batman. There's I was watching a video about the new 52, and and he was I was on Comics Explained, and he was saying that Batman is really the true identity, and Bruce Wayne is, you know, the false identity, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is cool
Mm-hmm.
to see things hit through different perspectives, and that's why I like the movies, like even like Venom. I mean, just being able to see a character with a story told in a different perspective is just fun to me.
Oh, absolutely. I agree 100% there that just a different perspective, a slightly different medium, and next thing you know, you have you know, the Dark Knight Returns, you have these classic films. Look, I really enjoyed Homecoming. I thought it was a great Spider-Man flick. Um, you know, obviously the problems with the DC movies are well documented. Everybody's seen them. I actually liked Aquaman. It was up there with Wonder Woman. So those are a couple of good ones. Now, and you know, we're kind of transitioning here a little bit too. Talk, but have you seen the trailer, the latest trailer to drop for the Joker movie that's coming out?
I haven't seen the latest one though. I mean, I seen like the very first one. I'm kind of like, I don't know, like this isn't normal, but I'm kind of like holding off because I'm a little bit excited about this because it takes a different it's takes a different path, and so
Right.
I mean, I am excited. I like Joaquin Phoenix. I've liked him in just about every movie that I've seen him in. He's got that maybe like a Benicio del Toro type personality, you know, a little dark. So
Mm-hmm.
I have kind of strayed away from seeing it, and I know it's coming out really soon. The only thing that I could say from the first one that I saw was it seemed like it was a lot of the story about him before he becomes the Joker, and so that's probably one of the most enticing the things that is enticing me to see. Like, at what point does he become the Joker, and how much of the Joker are we going to see in this movie?
Right. I will say that my understanding from every review that I've seen, this is obviously not your standard Joker, DC Batman Joker. So anybody who is going in thinking that that's what they're going to see, that's not who this is. Um, Now, some fan theories have said he's not the Joker, he's a Joker. Again, you know, I'm going to watch it at some point. I the critics have widely praised the film so far, and I'm good with that. That doesn't bother me, but I'm not so excited for it that I'm going to go see it in theaters. It's probably one that I'm going to wait to get on video. The only caveat I have there is unless if I have a couple of people who are going and they go see it and they're like, no, this is something you must experience in movie theater, then I might consider it. But like you say, truth of the matter is I'm I'm okay with it, but I'm not so overly excited for it that I've got to go drop $70 for my family to go see it. You know, I just that's not where it lands on my radar.
No, I can understand that. I mean, it doesn't look like it has that. It almost looks more like it would be an awesome Netflix show. And so, like you said, you want to go drop $70 to take your family to go see it. I don't know. I mean, I guess I agree with you there, and I'd probably be thinking like once it comes out on Redbox, I might be one of the first people in line to watch it. Then I don't know
Right.
how excited I'll be to see it in the theater, but we'll see. You know, we'll see what everybody says. I mean, if it's as good as what the critics say, then I might just go myself.
Right. Well, this is my only concern with listening to the critics with this is you got to remember the critics completely panned the Infinity Wars the end game. They completely panned that because they didn't understand what was going on with it. They went in, they watched it as a standalone movie as opposed to it being a comic book movie that had been being built for so long. So they kind of panned it. If you remember right, they were not overly enthusiastic about Endgame. My concern is that these same people are reviewing the Joker movie, and when they review the Joker movie, they're not comic book people. So they're saying it's going to be a great movie. Well, to them, it's a artsy fartsy cinema movie that's really deep and meaningful and these other things. And I'm not looking for that in a Joker movie. I want like mad chaos, like Joker, now almost a brilliant kind of chaos is kind of what I'm looking for. And I don't. Maybe this one delivers on that. I don't know. I'm going to reserve judgment on it though for sure.
Well, I mean, Endgame. If you were to just go in and watch Endgame without like all the stories before, I mean, and I watched all the stories before. The beginning few hours was kind of just boring storytelling. It wasn't really till the end that you were like in tears and excited about everything that happened. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame maybe blame the critics for that. To me, like in the movie that came out before, that was Infinity War, right? I mean, that one
Right.
was the really epic one, and Endgame was just kind of the conclusion with a great ending. So I mean,
Right.
the critics may have had it right from just the standpoint of if you don't really care about it, and you're sitting there for the first 2 hours, like okay, you know, and the Hulk is friendly, and he's your buddy, but
Yeah. Well, and like you say, it's not unwarranted. It's just not the way that comic book fans are going to receive the movie. That's basically my point is yes, the general public the may not dig it, but on the flip side, that's kind of not who it's for. It's more for people like us that are in fact comic book fans. Bear
maybe
with me.
maybe it,
Maybe.
it might have been made for the artsy fartsy people that that want to sit down and watch some kind of artistic depiction of the Joker and how
Uh,
he becomes the Joker. Uh,
well, that might be it. That might be it. I don't necessarily I don't necessarily subscribe to that, but I don't know. I think that Marvel is doing a pretty good job of going the way of appealing to the comic book nerds, and they're making quite a bit of money. And at the end of the day, that's what that's all about, is selling tickets and making money.
yeah, that's true. But I looked at the upcoming Marvel movies, like the next four in phase whatever. What's this, phase two or something? And I mean, I can't say that I was overly impressed. I mean, there wasn't one that really jumped out to me that said, "Oh my God, I have to see this." Like, and I know you got to build up to a story. It seems like they're going more in the direction of independent rather than the Avengers Assemble type of a storyline. And so I'm wondering how they're if they're going to do the same thing and try to bring this all back together, where everybody's doing their own thing, and now here's Galactus or Doctor Doom.
That could be the way they're going with it. I kind of think I lean more towards Galactus being the next big bad because of the Eternals and Celestials and some of these bigger entities being introduced. I kind of feel that way. I could be wrong. There's just no way to know at this point. I don't believe until somebody leaks it. Um, yeah, I don't know. I know that it feels as though they're going the way of choosing somebody from the Fantastic Four's Rogues Gallery to be the next big bad, which to me that'd be fine. Then we get an actual legit Fantastic Four movie, a real reboot. I don't even know if they would necessarily have to do a full blown reboot because just like with Spider-Man, dump him in there. Just say, hey, these guys have been out doing space stuff this whole time. And that, kind of like they did with the Guardians of the Galaxy. But that's my other thinking along the ways of giving Marvel a bit of extra leeway there. Guardians of the Galaxy, when they announced Guardians of the Galaxy, and again, this is kind of one of those anecdotal pieces that I think we can all identify with at least somewhat. When Guardians of the Galaxy was announced, were you super duper excited to see Guardians of the Galaxy in theaters, or even have them have a Guardians of the Galaxy movie? Was that something originally that you were like, yeah?
I don't know. I think there was enough. There was a little bit of intrigue, just based on the fact that I didn't know a ton about the characters. Like, I'm looking at their next phase, and like I think the first one is Black Widow, and I mean, not. I don't want to sound like a jerk, but I'm not really that excited about the Black Widow movie. Is it going to be like John Wick or something? And
It probably will be. It probably will be a prequel, like Captain Marvel was. That's my guess on that one. Is it will actually end up being a prequel.
yeah, and I mean the Eternals, I'm a little bit excited about because I know nothing about them. So that would probably go along the lines with Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know anything about them, and it's probably a lot of interesting characters. So it's like, well, this could be fun.
I think it could be fun, but like you say, I'm using Guardians of the Galaxy because I don't remember a whole lot of my friends at the time being like, Guardians of the Galaxy, yeah. I think there were a lot more people that were like, why aren't they doing somebody like the Defenders? Um, they were coming up with plenty of other teams to go before the Guardians of the Galaxy. And it kind of is what it is. But like you say, I think that they did such a good job with Guardians of the Galaxy, and Ant-Man is another one that kind of one of those, like, before the movies, I really think Ant-Man was like a D-list superhero. If he's not in the Avengers, kind of a who cares kind of hero, honestly, for the most part.
Well, he did create
But
Ultron.
but he created Ultron as a part of the Avengers, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's not like he's Spider-Man or Captain America or Wolverine. That's my opinion on him. Not those are your real A-listers for Marvel. B-listers are going to be guys like Iron Man and Hulk. I know I'm going to take some people off saying that Hulk is a B-lister, but sorry guys, he's a B-lister. That
yeah. I
if
don't
you
know
don't
about
like it, leave a comment down below. Tell me why Hulk. Tell me why Hulk is an A-list character. We can have a good discussion about that.
that. Actually, like if they did the Hulk like the '80s show with Bill Bixby and Ferrigno, where I always like the idea he's roaming around and then he has confrontations. I think if they did something like that, played out the story a little bit longer, I think he could carry a list.
Well, I mean, look, until Robert Downey Jr. was Iron Man was a B or C lister.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, that like you say, I feel like Marvel they get a little extra leeway. I'm gonna let them produce a flop or two in a row before I'm willing to be like, yeah, this is not a good idea anymore, guys. You know, and I don't foresee that coming because they've just continued to unleash these guys on us, these films on us.
Yeah, they will all be interesting. So
Right on.
we're getting close to the half hour mark. We should probably wrap this one up. Are you
Right
all right
on,
with
man.
that?
I'm I'm good with that. You want to give us a final thought, and I'll give a final thought as well.
Yeah. Um, like I watched The Mandalorian. If you haven't watched the preview for The Mandalorian, check it out. I'm a Star Wars fan. I liked Solo. I thought that was a very entertaining movie, and I'd like to see the whole Star Wars franchise continue. And I guess it's kind of up to us old guys, for the most part, to keep that going. So please, for my sake and for all the other Star Wars nerds out there, check out the Mandalorian trailer and enjoy it, please.
Right on, man. My final thought is going to be about the Venom miniseries, and I've talked about them before. You can find them in dollar bins, guys. I actually personally just saw a listing for Lethal Protectors #1 with another bunch of #1 issues all bulked together. It would have run out to about $3 a piece on these books. Um, you can find them in dollar bins if you want to know what's going on or what guys like Donny Cates are hearkening back to with some of these new issues that are coming out with Absolute Carnage. You got to get in and read them. They're 4-issue mini series. Some of them might be 6. Other ones are going to be 3. But like Todd was talking about, Separation Anxiety has an original. Lethal Protectors has an original. You know, and they're cheap. Right now, they're still cheap. So get in while you can.
Oh yeah, everything Venom's hot. Funeral Pyre. I remember picking those up in the dollar bin, and what Mind Bomb was one of the dollar bin whisperer books, and
Yes, one of the
so
original Dollar Bin Whisperer books. Yep, that's correct.
yep. All right, well, that's all we got today, everybody. So,
All right, guys. Be good or be good at it.
all right, peace out, everybody. See you next time.